Here are a few quotes. Perception is a mirror, not a fact. There are no facts, and that's from A Course in Miracles. There are no facts, only interpretations. Famous quote from Nietzsche. We do not see the world as it is, we see it as we are, usually attributed to Anais Nin, but she took it, I think, from the Talmud. That might be the best one in terms of like the easiest to understand. We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. All these quotes are basically saying the same thing. And I wanted to start by talking about these quotes to get into the subject of this book that I've been writing, which is called The Jesus Mirror, and the subtitle is The Gospel According to You. I didn't choose this title. Actually, I asked AI, and AI came up with a bunch of titles, and I chose it out of the titles it suggested. Is it the best title? I don't know. Is it the best book? The book is good, but I think what I've been trying to say recently on this channel is I think you have to take AI with a grain of salt. AI is not perfect. The other day I was saying that AI doesn't necessarily have a bias. People have biases. The bias sometimes gets programmed into AI. Apparently, I'm not sure if this is true, but I think it's probably true that Elon Musk is trying to make his AI system Grok. He's trying to make it somewhat biased towards right-wing conservative views, which is unfortunate. This other commentator I was listening to was saying that most of these AI systems sound left wing or seem to have a left wing bias, but that's only because the left wing tends to be more focused on facts and actual, what is actually true in terms of, if you look at the actual statistics and the facts. But that never stopped anyone, right? And you know that what's his name? Mark Twain had that great quote about there's lies, damn lies, and there are lies, damn lies, and then there are statistics, right? So I wouldn't base my life on statistics. I wouldn't base my life on the hard facts. On the other hand, I wouldn't base my life on conspiracy theories either. So it's this whole AI thing is complex. For the most part, though, I think it's a useful tool, and I think this book is going to be very interesting for someone who wants to open their eyes a little bit to this, to the study and reality of Jesus, because that's what the book is about. My view is, I'm going to talk a little bit about the book. What I'm doing in the book. The book is doing a number of things. First of all, it's looking at the historical Jesus debate. Was Jesus a historical person? Did he, the question, did Jesus really exist? Dr. Bart Ehrman is going to do a free lecture on this in a couple weeks. He's going to give a free lecture on the subject, did Jesus really exist? I would love to hear what he has to say. I know that he's going to be trying to maybe debate the mythicist view, which is, those who believe that Jesus probably didn't exist or didn't exist. And the guy that's really leading the forefront of that is Dr. Richard Carrier, who wrote some really great books on the subject, peer-reviewed books. He's an academic. He like Helen and Bill, for those of you into ACIM, he also was at Columbia. He got his degree at Columbia. I'm going to ask AI about that, the connection with Columbia. Right? So you got Helen and Bill, who basically scribed this scripture from Jesus, and then you have Richard Carrier saying Jesus didn't exist. Um, but 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 my point is that even if Jesus did not exist, and I think Dr. Carrier has a very good argument actually. Even if Jesus did not exist, that would not prove that the course is not true, right? The course still works even if Jesus did not exist. And I keep saying that. I keep saying this, but so that's kind of where I start though, is that debate of, did Jesus exist? Why does it matter if Jesus existed or didn't exist? And then the question of, if Jesus didn't exist, why is he such a reality for so many people? And many people, millions and millions and millions, billions of people base their life around Jesus. Clearly, this whole issue, there's, people don't want to hear that Jesus might not have existed. I tend to think that there's a good case to be made, a very good case. Like I was saying, I think Dr. Carrier has a very good case that Jesus probably did not exist, actually. And even if he did exist, I think the main thing is that even if Jesus did exist, we know so little about him in reality. If you really look at the historical material that we have, we know so little about him that it's almost it's not even helpful to say he existed, right? Now, you might say, well, I do believe the Gospels. I believe that Jesus did do all those miracles and did all those things. The only problem with that, I believe miracles happen, right? I believe that those things, and I believe that there are people that can do those things. I just think I think the Gospels are written in such a way that it sounds like fiction, right? And they contradict each other, and it's like if it were written, if they were written in a way in which there weren't all the contradictions, and it didn't sound like a story, then it might be different. But anyway, this is a very big subject. I try to deal with that in the book, but then I go into other, I go into ACIM, and ACIM is really like a Gnostic scripture. And what did the Gnostics teach? So it goes into the Gnostics. Who were the Gnostics? And how is ACIM Gnostic but not Gnostic? How was it different than what the ancient Gnostics were teaching? And then I go into plant medicine like ayahuasca, because I've worked a lot with ayahuasca, and I look at how ayahuasca can help to understand A Course in Miracles, and can help to understand this whole Jesus thing a little bit better. And one thing I talk about in this book that I'm doing, and I've talked about it elsewhere in some of my other books as well, but now the difference now is that I'm talking about it with AI as giving me comments on what my experiences. So one thing I realized with ayahuasca is, it really helped to understand what the Course is saying when the Course is talking about how the ego, for example, will move from suspiciousness to viciousness. You can really see that very clearly with ayahuasca. Now, you don't need ayahuasca to show you that, but it really helps to see how the ego works. Because what it will do is, when it when it feels a threat, when it feels like it will be dissolved in the light of truth, it's not gonna go gently, right? It's gonna throw everything it possibly can at you. You are horrible. You are guilty. You are the worst sinner. You are the worst demon in hell. And people have that feeling sometimes. I have that a number of times, that you're in hell and you cannot get out, right? You are doomed. You are damned. You will never get out of this. And then there's the flip side of that, which is, I am the Messiah, right? I am the one that is here to awaken humanity. And I asked AI about this too, because AI is, this is all specialness, right? Spiritual specialness. On the one hand, you're the worst, right? You are the most horrible person ever. That's specialness, right? And you are the greatest. You are beyond Donald Trump. Right? You, you are, you are the one, the Messiah, here to save everyone, right? To save the world. And this is all ego. Right? This is all the ego trying to, you know, reassert itself and say, no, you are this person, right? You are this individual, you know, and and instead of just feeling like a weak, frail, limited person, you could either feel like the worst person ever, right? That's you win a prize for that, and then you can also think you're the greatest person that ever lived. You win a prize for that too, right? So ultimately, I think the value of ayahuasca is to show you how the ego works, right? And once you see that, then you can more easily identify what is ego. Basically, anytime that you think, that you feel separation between you and someone else, that is ego, right? Anytime you feel any kind of, whether you feel inferior, you feel superior, that's ego, right? So anyway, this is a long infomercial for my book. Buy my book. It's going to be on Amazon maybe a week. I'm kidding, but if you want a copy of it, I will send it to you. Just send me your email. You can even just send it post a comment on the video if you want, or you can reach out and we can connect. Send me your email. I guess that's the way to do it. I'll put my phone number too if you ever want to call, and I'm always open to talking if anyone wants to talk. So I'll put my email and my phone number, and let me know if you want a PDF version of it. I do accept small donations if you feel called to do that. And like I said, I think this book is going to have some good information and also some real wisdom from the journey to share. And I think that's all for right now. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, and be well. Keep the faith, and keep on, chipping away. And we'll see you very soon once again. All right. Bye-bye.